And resume live. All right. So, what's the topic for the day? The topic for the day is basically, do we bring Pitch Smart the travel ball? Pitch Smart, for those of you who don't know, it's a nice little guideline that a couple of experts have gotten together and implemented it for the safety of youth pitchers in baseball. Now, it was paid for by the MLB, and PitchSmart gives you basically like a pitch count. I really wish I had a way to add the picture on the background, but the PitchSmart is supposed to be, it's intended to count pitches. It creates a guideline where it forces coaches to count pitches for players to sort of prevent them from reaching maximum capacity and blowing out their arms when they're like, I don't know, 10, 8, 11, whatever. It has it for, 7, 8-year-olds when pitching begins to all the way to 18. It gives you a breakdown. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but I know that the pitch count for the 8U, once it reaches a limit of 50 pitches, it's something like you have to change the pitcher. And if you don't, a league can suspend a coach. Now that happens with Little League, so not all organizations have adopted it. And so, yeah, they implement it in order to have very protective measures for kids so that coach don't overuse arms. Now, the topic that I want to bring up is, do we need to bring it into travel ball? I want to make the argument that yes, we do. I think we got to make that persuasive argument to all the tournament directors that are in, throughout the nation. Implement it. Just do it. I went to a tournament this week and I saw a kid catch like the whole game. Like they were in tournaments. You play game 1, game 2, championships. If it's a 1-day, sometimes, you play a little bit more if it's a 2-day. But in this situation, a kid caught the second game and they qualified for the championship. So in the championship, this kid goes into pitch, starts the game, is pitching phenomenally. Probably goes 5 innings, leaves the game. Can't remember, but his team was in the lead. And the coach notices that he starts to get tired, and he comes in and he meets up with in the mound, and they do the little huddle, and all right, it looks like he's gonna bring the hook and take him out, which is the right call. And what happens? He sends him to the dugout. He starts suiting up, and he goes to catch. He catches the rest of the game. This was a championship game, so they play on a weekly basis every tournament. Like there's tournaments every week. If you look, you'll find one. He goes to the dugout. He changes. I'm like, no way, he's gonna catch again. Sure enough, third game of the day, you can totally see the kid's body language is just like he's tired. He's tired. And was he tired enough to say, okay, you're not gonna finish it, tough it out, this and that? No, of course, because he was able to do it, right? He got in there and he jumped in, he suited up, and he went to catch. Started warming up the new pitcher, and sure enough, he caught the rest of the game, and lo and behold, the team won the championship. It was great. But was it really worth it, is my take. My take is it's a little more dangerous, when you have a young player. He was young. He was 9 or 10 years old maybe. And when you have somebody that young, and at all costs they're going to throw him in there just for the sake of winning. It's great. They got the win. But is it really that important? That's the question. I think this is where the Pitch Smart would make a difference. It would force the coach to not make such a mistake. The Pitch Smart regulates that kind of behavior. There's also rules that protect the catcher in that pitch smart. It says like after you throw 41 pitches in a day, you can no longer catch. So let's say one of your best pitchers is your catcher and you want to be able to get something out of him and you still want him to catch for that day, then what you do is you let him pitch 40 pitches, and then after 40 pitches you take him out, and then he's good to go and catch. I mean, according to the guidelines, right? You're not breaking the rules. But if you go to 41, you automatically just are banned from pitching again. So that forces you to go in and make moves as a coach. So one of the things that's concerning is when you see the same kids pitch over and over again. You go to a tournament and it's a one-day tournament, and you might play two. You're going to play 2 games, so you should have at least 4, maybe 5 pitchers. Then you qualify for the championship game, and there's 3 games, and you have the same. Let's say you only have 4 pitchers. Championship game, you still got the same 4. So I think what the pitch smart rules do is they force you to teach more kids to pitch. They force you to teach more kids to catch. Obviously, not all the pitchers are going to be aces, but it doesn't matter. If you have a kid who's like your 6th, 7th pitcher and he's learning, this is the perfect time to bring him in, because see, if they implement these pitch smart rules, the pitch smart guidelines, you're going to have more kids pitching, more kids practicing, more kids learning. Sure, maybe this team's not going to win as many championships as they normally do because they got the 4 best pitchers in the region that play for like one travel ball team and they're unstoppable. But now if you have to spread it out and you force 7 different kids to pitch in a tournament, 8 different kids to pitch in a tournament, you're not just relying on the same kid over and over again. So my take on that is that, you need to implement the pitch smart guidelines. Now, there's a whole bunch I brought it up. I'm bringing it up because I run the SoCal Travel Ball Facebook group, and I brought it up as a topic. I threw the chart on there and everything, and man, it's like I struck a nerve, because there was a lot of people in agreement with it, and very few percentage who spoke badly about the idea. My idea was, let's implement it into travel ball in Southern California. I think it's definitely possible. I'm a big believer in it. I coached Little League, and Little League has adopted it. I know Pony has adopted it. Babe Ruth has adopted it. Cal Ripken baseball has adopted it. And why not travel ball? I mean, is it that important? I mean, to you think you're going to scare teams away? You're not, because at the end of the day, everybody has to prepare enough pitchers to go and compete. Everybody has to prepare enough catchers to go and compete. Another rule that I like is if you catch 4 innings or more, you can no longer pitch. Also to protect the catcher. There's no catching limits. I mean, ultimately a catcher can catch 2 games and there's no limitations on the pitch. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll adopt that later once people, let me see, travel ball kids pitch, then pitch in Little League games same day. Yes, and that was the argument that other people were using. And the way you go about it is, you know what? Yes, they can do that. I agree. They can do that. But at the end of the day, you as an organization, as a tournament director, at least you've made an attempt to put some sort of guideline so that injury doesn't occur on your watch. Now, if the parent is aware that they played travel ball and they pitched in a tournament, and then the next day they have a Little League game, and then they go back on Monday and then they pitch, that's no longer your responsibility. That's the responsibility of the parents. Is it ideal? There should be like another person suggested that there should be like a central database that that everybody reports to. Like, you pitched that USSSA tournament, and then it goes into the database, and then that database is shared with like the Little League's database, and then you're aware of what's happening, Little League, and then USA sort of communicate on that platform. Of course, there's ways around it. There's ways to people could change the names of the kid. And I mean, but that's getting a little drastic, Let me see. I got another comment here. Not to mention the pressure on the kids cause not enough pitchers. They're forced to pitch dead arm. Yes, that's it. That's exactly the kids. If you're forced to, now imagine if you're forced to teach more kids to pitch. Not all of them are going to be aces, as I said, but they're all going to be learning. they probably won't be ready that year to be good pitchers, but then the following year, they already got a year worth of experience because they've been practicing. They struggled that year, but see, every team's going to have that problem. So that level of competition, maybe you're going to see a little bit of the competition or the skill level drop because now you have to scatter the pitching, and you might have some pitchers that are, not top notch, but at least the responsibilities are spread out. Now, I'm thinking it's a little more severe for the younger kids because in the younger kids, for example, you go to a tournament, an 8U, you're only allowed 50 pitches. A 9U kid is only allowed 75 pitches. I don't know what the number is for the 10U, 11U, 12U, but they do have a number, and the game's long enough to where you can count and you can see when a kid is approaching 100 pitches. I mean, 100 is for the 18-year-olds, but like those numbers as they start to get higher, they let's see, how to balance kids wanting to win versus being on a losing team. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. There's gonna be teams that go to tournaments and they always win, always the same one. I mean, they got the best pitchers. They go to that tournament, they got the best pitchers. They're gonna kick everybody's ass. I mean, this sort of spreads it out a little bit more. Let's go. Let's force them to implement other pitchers that are not the top 4 pitchers. Have maybe. I mean, it's going to be tough to have 4 of the best pitchers in the area playing for the same team because, like, are you going to get that much playing time as a pitcher? Like, you're on that team and they go to a tournament. They only play 2 games in pool play, and your 4 best pitchers, everybody wants the ball. So, somebody wants to be the ace on a team. So they might spread out a little bit, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult to keep 7 aces on a team, And that's my argument. My argument is that you need to spread the knowledge and teach several kids, give everybody opportunity. I think at the end of the day, it will be better for baseball, for the travel ball community, because parents will be happy that, more pitching time is going to, or even more catching time is going to be set aside for a catcher and set aside for a pitcher, because you have to teach more kids to pitch, you have to teach more kids to catch. Definitely needs to be implemented. And some of the comments have been like parents are gonna lie. Yes, parents can lie. They're gonna lie all day. It's possible. I've seen that happen. I was coaching travel ball and had a rule that said, you know what, you have to let me know when you pitch. I would find out later, like, oh, that guy pitched yesterday and he's, and I'm like, the dad didn't tell me, and that's kind of like on the parents too. You gotta have, at least until that central database is developed, there needs to be something in place. There has to be some sort of form of integrity amongst the parents who they say, you know what, my son already pitched 50 pitches, he can't pitch today for an 8U, for a 9U. You know what, yesterday my son caught the whole game. Can you please not let him catch in today's game when they go to Little League? Let's see, we as parents need to allow failure too without struggle. There's exactly. It's okay to be to throw in some kids to pitch, and they're new and they're learning, and everybody's learning. I mean, at the end of the day, all of this travel ball is all about learning. I don't care what level you're playing at. You're playing at single A, double A, triple A, or the majors, elite level. All of it is developmental. Whether you're developing at the double A tournament or the national championship in Florida, which, I mean, there's no scouts there looking at a 10, 12-year-old kid, right? It's all developmental. It's just to develop them. So, they're going to fail. And, I mean, if you play baseball, you're going to fail. I mean, this is a sport where you have to learn to fail, right? It's, I mean, if you're not failing, I mean, you're pretty much in the Hall of Fame. I mean, batting 1,000, that's never the case. I mean, you fail, the 300 batting average means you made 7 outs out of 10, and you're going to the Hall of Fame, right? Let's see. Some pull kids and protect them from developing because they struggle in the beginning. Yeah, no, that's true. They pull them out. Well, I mean, that wouldn't go against the pitch. That's something else, because that wouldn't go against the pitch smart guidelines. That's, if a kid is up there struggling, they might pull them for that reason. Maybe the kid's not ready emotionally. But I mean, are you really gonna let your pitcher out there on the mound hanging? Like if they're like having an emotional breakdown, nah, you go get them. You know, it's almost like the referee in boxing that you know, when you're counting out the you're like 7, 8, and then the guy gets up, and you tell him, all right, what's going on over here? And then you tell him, all right, walk towards me, and the guy's knocked out. If he's like unable to focus his sight on the referee, the referee's gonna stop the fight, right? You gotta have that ability to read your players like that. Get on the mound, take a look at your pitcher. If he's not there or she's not there, whatever, then you know you pull them. If they're there, you like, you got this. I got this, coach. You leave them in there, right? Just in training or practicing in general, I mean. All right. In terms of some pull kids and protect them from developing because they struggle in the beginning. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, I run these sandlot baseball games, which are really fun. The rule is with sandlot baseball is really fun because you have you have a 1-1 count. The rule is you can only pitch 1 inning. Nobody can pitch more than 1 inning. And then the way that you do it is if you give up 4 runs, you switch sides. That pitcher's done pitching. And that happens all the time in the Sandlot series. You know, pitchers give up 4 runs. It was an unsuccessful inning, they gave up 4 runs, or maybe the hitters had a successful inning. They gave up 4 runs, and then you... All right, so I momentarily got logged out. Yeah, so I was talking about the Sandlot. The Sandlot series, it's a great activity for the kids. You get one group against another group. Everybody starts with a 1-1 count, and every pitcher is allowed 4 runs or 1 inning. So they strike out the side, strike one, out number 1, out number 2, out number 3. Then inning over, switch sides. And that kid don't get to pitch no more because you have somebody else that was ready to pitch. Coach, I want to pitch. You give them a chance to pitch. You give them the 4 runs to just sort of, hey, that's your ceiling. You know, you mess up, 4 runs came across. 4 runs is not enough time to get emotional. It's quick. Plus, everybody has a 1-1 count. That's how I like to do the Sandlot. Just to get them going. But as far as travel ball, I definitely think that in travel ball, we need to do more to implement the pitch smart. I want to get together with a couple of the tournament directors and maybe write a letter to some of them and try and see if we can push the issue forward for the next season that starts in August or September. I don't remember exactly, but I want to see if we can push that here in Southern California. A pitch count would be awesome. It would force everybody to learn the rules of the pitch smart. Obviously, directors, it would be a little more of a headache because now you got to keep track. Somebody's got to be counting the pitches. Is it a central figure that counts the pitches? A neutral person? Is it each coach has to be in charge of counting the pitches? I don't know, but something has to be done because, one, there's a high increase of Tommy John surgeries going on for teenagers, which, you know, if nothing gets done about it, it's just going to keep getting worse. And for what? All this for the sake of winning a little $5-6 plastic ring. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it. I think it needs to be implemented like fast. Let's pick up the phone, call me, let's talk. What can we do? On SoCal Travel Ball on the Facebook page, I was even thinking about, like, you know, I have it open. It's an open group. Anybody can join, and they promote in Southern California. I was even thinking of closing the group to anybody who's not promoting a tournament following the Pitch Smart guidelines. You know, like I say, you want to promote your tournament on the SoCal Travel Ball Facebook group, then you need to implement, adopt the Pitch Smart guidelines. You know, I hate to be all fascist about it, but I think something has to be done. I might lose a lot of people. A lot of people might send me to hell and say go to another page. I don't know, but I think something needs to be done, and I think that's a step in the direction. I mean, that discussion, I thought about it. I mean, it's just a thought. It's not that I am going to do it. I just think that something has to be done, and it's a start. I mean, the discussion has to start. Like, Little League has adopted it. Pony has adopted it. Babe Ruth, Cal Ripken. I think the one organization that needs to lead the way is USSSA, and then I think Perfect Game has even adopted it. USSSA, Triple Crown, NCS. I think all those organizations need to adopt it, and everybody else will follow. All these mom and pop shop, smaller companies that pop up. If they're going to want to do it, then they have to find a way to implement it and then protect these young arms. I'm all for it. I'm all in. I mean, I see Tilly baseball family definitely protect these young athletes. I think they'll play longer. They'll be able to play some college baseball. I mean, imagine putting all that work in Little League to win a couple of those titles, and then, you get to high school and then the arm is blown out. Ramirez, Jose official. Let me see. I'm not sure what Ramirez, did you try to... I'm not even sure what that request was. Ramirez, put in the request again. I'm not sure what the request was. But, yeah. Anyways, I'm out here at the park. I'm doing a live stream. I don't know how to turn the camera around. Let me see. Can I? I don't even know if I can. Oh, flip camera? Is that it? There we go. Somebody will argue that, even throwing at practice, it's almost like throwing pitches, etc. And, I mean, the pitch smart guidelines aren't perfect, but it's a start, I mean, of course, but you don't count the warm-up. Some people will say, well, what about the warm-up pitches before an inning? You normally, people throw 8 pitches. Why aren't those counted? I mean, I get it. It's not perfect. But the pitch smart gives you a little guideline. It gives you it forces you to start thinking about, okay, who to bring next into the game. And it's a conversation that I think a lot of people in baseball want to have. A lot of families that'll be like, okay, well, that kid pitched already. That kid pitched again. Okay, here we go. This kid. How about the other kids who haven't pitched? Bring them in. Let them have a piece of the action. Let them get a chance to compete on the mound and strike somebody out or give up a home run. Get that feeling of failing. Get that feeling of succeeding. Put them in the opportunity that is going to be required of them to be successful baseball players. They got to be challenged. But yeah. So like say right here, these drills, people are throwing, and somebody will say, well, those aren't being counted. And you're right, those aren't being counted. But like I said, the system ain't perfect. There's a system in place. It has to be followed, and I think people can respect that we're actually trying. I definitely think that if I run a tournament, I'm gonna make sure to do the pitch smart. The pitch smart's gonna be mandatory. Again, how will I follow it? I don't know. There won't be a central database, but even if it's just paper and pen, and you trust, you just kind of go by integrity, and I mean, if you're a pitch off by one pitch, oh, you're off by one pitch, oh, you're off by 2, it's not that big a deal. I mean, it will matter if it's like 41 and, it has to do with your catcher. At that point, some decisions have to be made, but that's like something that's a good problem to have, But having a pitcher who's 12, throw 100 pitches or over 100 pitches, and there's no stoplight in sight, kids just going and going and going and going. Or maybe he threw 60 the first game, and then the second game he's already at 45, and kid's only 9. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I think that's not cool. something has to be done. What are your thoughts? What do you guys? I know there was a couple of people commenting, and there's different ways to go around it. You know, you can play little league, and then you can go play travel ball. And if you pitch in travel ball, then you come Monday, you don't tell the coach, oh, I just pitched yesterday, and then you pitch again. So I get it. There's different things that people can do to go around the system, but you're not gonna fix everything. Like I said, it ain't perfect. That's just something I wanted to say today and get it off my chest, because I'm a big believer in that. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say.